On a quiet April night in 2018, David McSparren drove along a deserted rural road in Monroe County, Missouri. It was a path he rarely took, but something compelled him to return after seeing an unusual scene earlier. What he found changed his life and revealed a chilling crime. McSparren first saw two cars stopped on the road. A man, older and short, waved him on, saying it would be a while before anything happened. Hours later, McSparren returned, only to find a lifeless body in front of a vehicle. It was Molly Watson, her engagement ring still on her finger, her eyes empty and fixed on the night sky. He called 911, reporting what seemed to be an execution-style murder.
Get the ambulance out here. There's a lady laying in front of a car. I don't know if she's alive, dead, or what. Ma'am. Oh my God. I don't think she's alive, no. Her eyes are open. I swear to God, she's dead.
Molly Watson was a vibrant woman with a passion for life. At 35, she was preparing for the wedding of her dreams, eager to marry James Addie, a man she believed to be her soulmate. Molly loved singing, crafting costumes, and sharing her world through YouTube diaries. A second chance at love had filled her life with hope after her first marriage ended in heartbreak. She had meticulously planned her Disney-themed wedding with James, choosing 2 wedding dresses because she couldn't decide on just one. Molly's family described her as kind, creative, and trusting, a trait that would tragically lead her into danger. Molly met James Addie at work, where his quiet demeanor seemed to complement her lively spirit. She believed James could provide stability, unaware of the deadly secrets he was hiding. It all began when Molly started her new job at the Moberly Area Correctional Center in Missouri. Amid the bustling routines of the prison, Molly met James Addie, a corrections officer known for his stoic demeanor. Their connection seemed unlikely at first, but it quickly turned into something deeper. Molly, who had just moved past a difficult breakup, found herself drawn to James's quiet charm. James, though 16 years her senior, initially presented himself as reliable and understanding. Their relationship started discreetly, as workplace romances often do, but it blossomed over time. Molly's friends noticed how she lit up when talking about James, believing she had finally found her soulmate. Behind the scenes, however, James Addie was a man with a complex personal life. Unbeknownst to Molly, he was still married to his wife of 23 years, Melanie Addie, and was living a double life. James skillfully hid his marriage from Molly, feeding her lies to maintain the facade of a committed relationship. Molly's friends and family later recalled how she spoke of James as her happily ever after, a stark contrast to the deception James harbored. James Addie, the man Molly Watson believed to be her soulmate, was living a lie so intricate that it deceived not only Molly, but also those closest to him. Beneath his quiet demeanor was a web of deceit, carefully spun over decades. James Addie, a corrections officer at the Moberly Area Correctional Center, was married to Melanie Addie for 23 years. Together they raised children and shared a life in a rural Missouri town. Melanie described him as controlling and intimidating, but never suspected the depth of his deceit. Unknown to Melanie, James had been in a secret relationship with Molly Watson for over 7 years. While presenting himself as a devoted fiancé to Molly, he maintained the facade of a committed husband to Melanie. He invented elaborate lies to keep the two worlds apart. To Molly, he claimed Melanie had died tragically in a car accident, even fabricating details about her funeral. To Melanie, James's routine seemed unchanged. He went to work and returned home as usual. Molly's family had lingering doubts about James's character, but Molly trusted him completely. She believed she had found the love of her life, eagerly planning their future together. Friends and coworkers, however, noticed the stark difference in James's behavior. While Molly was effervescent and excited about the wedding, James appeared disinterested, treating the preparations as an obligation. As the wedding date approached, James's web of lies began to unravel. His aloofness raised questions, and his explanations became increasingly strained. The truth came crashing down when police arrived at Melanie's doorstep after Molly's murder. She was stunned to learn that her husband was not only engaged to another woman, but was also implicated in her death. In the days leading up to her wedding, Molly Watson was filled with excitement and hope for a fresh chapter in her life. Little did she know that the joyous event she had dreamed of for years was masking a web of lies and betrayal. Molly, a vibrant and creative woman, had been meticulously planning her Disney-themed wedding with James Addie for months. The wedding was set to take place on April 29, 2018, just 2 days away. Molly had chosen a romantic theme inspired by Beauty and the Beast, complete with burgundy and gold colors, and had already purchased 2 wedding dresses because she couldn't decide which one she loved more. Molly met with her wedding planner, Sam Cohen, to finalize decorations and centerpieces, eager to see her dream wedding come to life. Friends and family described her as radiant during this time, brimming with happiness and excitement about starting her new life with James. However, James Addie was a stark contrast. While Molly poured her heart into the preparations, James remained reserved and detached. The wedding planner recalled how James seemed indifferent, treating the wedding as a chore rather than a celebration.
Mr. Addie walked in the door, and he was not smiling. He was acting like this was not the place he wanted to be in. She reached right over to him and was touching his arm and stuff, and she would pat him on the back, and she would lean into him a little bit. He seemed perturbed with some of the things that I was asking him, like if he'd been married before and how it ended. He was just like, why do you need to know that?
Meanwhile, James was living a double life. Unbeknownst to Molly, he was still married to his wife of 23 years, Melanie Addie, who had no idea about his affair or upcoming wedding. To cover his tracks, James fabricated a story, claiming to Molly that Melanie had died in a car accident and passed away after being removed from life support. He used this excuse to avoid wedding meetings, telling Molly he was preoccupied with funeral arrangements. Despite her excitement, Molly's family harbored doubts about James. They found him evasive and cold, and some even refused to attend the wedding, sensing something was off. Molly, however, was blinded by love and reassured them that James was the man of her dreams. April 27, 2018, was supposed to be one of the happiest days of Molly Watson's life, her final countdown to marrying the man she loved. But as night fell, her dreams turned into a chilling nightmare. That evening, Molly and James were seen together finalizing last-minute wedding details. Molly, as always, was brimming with excitement about their future, unaware of the storm brewing in the shadows. James, however, carried an unsettling calm, masking his sinister intentions beneath a composed exterior. Molly's car was found abandoned on a desolate country road. Inside, remnants of her excitement remained: a marriage license with both their names, wedding decorations, and a sense of anticipation for the life she believed awaited her. Nearby, her lifeless body was discovered by a passerby, McSparran, who had initially driven by and seen 2 cars on the road. When McSparran returned, he found Molly's body lying motionless in front of her car. She had been shot execution-style in the back of her head at close range. The scene was haunting. Her eyes, as McSparran later described, revealed her tragic end. He called 911, reporting the chilling discovery. Investigators quickly arrived and ruled out robbery as a motive. Molly's engagement ring was still on her finger, and the vehicle appeared untouched. Suspicion pointed to someone she trusted, someone who had been there with her that night. James's alibi began to crumble as inconsistencies surfaced. Witnesses described seeing a man fitting his description near Molly's car earlier that evening. His demeanor when questioned raised red flags. He seemed evasive and detached, unlike a grieving fiancé. With Molly Watson's lifeless body discovered on a rural road, authorities faced the daunting task of unraveling the mystery behind her murder. What began as a homicide investigation would soon expose a web of lies, betrayal, and deceit that pointed squarely at James Addie. Investigators arrived at the crime scene to find Molly's car nearby, her engagement ring still on her finger, and a marriage license in the vehicle. The lack of stolen items ruled out a robbery, leading detectives to look deeper into her personal life. Their attention quickly turned to James Addie, Molly's fiancé, who had been set to marry her just 2 days later. When questioned, James's answers were evasive and inconsistent. Suspicion grew when it was revealed he had been leading a double life, still married to his wife, Melanie Addie, despite claiming she had died in a car accident years earlier. Investigators pieced together his movements on the night of the murder. Witnesses recalled seeing 2 cars on the desolate road near the crime scene, one of which matched James's vehicle. Surveillance footage and phone records placed him near the area at the time Molly was killed. The investigation also revealed Molly had confided in friends and family about her concerns leading up to the wedding. She reportedly mentioned James acting distant and unenthusiastic about their upcoming nuptials. As evidence mounted, James Addie's facade crumbled. What began as a tale of love and hope for Molly turned into a harrowing account of betrayal and murder. His arrest sent shockwaves through their small Missouri community, setting the stage for a trial that would captivate the nation. In court, prosecutors painted James as a manipulative and calculating man who saw Molly as a threat to his double life. They argued that when the wedding approached and the pressure mounted, James decided to end Molly's life rather than face exposure. Key testimonies came from witnesses who had seen James's car near the crime scene, as well as from Melanie Addie, who revealed her husband's lies and controlling nature. Phone records showed damning evidence of James contacting Molly hours before her death. Prosecutors detailed how James staged the murder to appear random, shooting Molly execution style to silence her forever. However, his sloppy attempts to cover his tracks only strengthened the case against him. When Melanie Addie took the stand, the courtroom sat in stunned silence. Her words would provide a haunting glimpse into James Addie's double life, the web of lies he wove, and the man she had shared 23 years of marriage with.
Yes. Did you have any idea that your husband was using this cell phone to communicate with his girlfriends?
No.
Until the early morning hours of April 28th of 2018, did you have any idea your husband was having an affair?
No.
We see this car in the garage in this photo. Is that normally where that car was parked?
No, he would usually park it outside the garage.
To your knowledge, was he working on the car that evening?
No, not that I know of.
Melanie testified that she had no knowledge of her husband's secret relationship with Molly Watson. She recalled the shocking moment when police arrived at her door on the night of the murder. They informed her of her husband's engagement to another woman and the tragic death of Molly Watson. "I was blindsided," Melanie told the court. "I had no idea. James was always home on time, and I never suspected anything unusual." She described James as controlling and manipulative, traits that became more apparent in hindsight. Melanie revealed how James had maintained a facade of a devoted husband. The court heard that James had fabricated a story about her, claiming she had been in a car accident and later died, to explain her absence in Molly's life. This false narrative had allowed him to create a seemingly legitimate relationship with Molly for 7 years. The courtroom gasped as Melanie recounted the extent of James's deception. She expressed disbelief at the calculated manner in which James had built his double life. Despite his controlling tendencies, she never imagined he was capable of murder. "He always wanted things done his way," Melanie said. "I see now how far he was willing to go to get what he wanted." Her testimony painted James as a man who could manipulate, lie, and destroy lives without remorse. When asked if she believed James was capable of murder, Melanie responded firmly, "Yes, it just seems like something he would do to fix a problem." Her words resonated in the courtroom, leaving a lasting impression on the jury. Melanie's testimony was a pivotal moment in the trial. It provided the jury with a first-hand account of James's character and the lengths he went to in maintaining his lies. Her honesty and heartbreak added weight to the prosecution's case, portraying James as a cold, calculating individual. Prosecutors detailed how James staged the murder to appear random, shooting Molly execution style to silence her forever. However, his sloppy attempts to cover his tracks only strengthened the case against him. Defense attorneys attempted to cast doubt on the evidence, but the overwhelming combination of forensic data, witness accounts, and James's own behavior proved insurmountable. After weeks of testimony, the jury reached a decision that brought justice for Molly Watson.
Verdict reads as follows. As to count one, we, the jury, find the defendant, James Addie, guilty of murder in the first degree as submitted in instruction number 6. Verdict reads as follows. As to count two, we, the jury, find the defendant, James Addie, guilty of armed criminal action as submitted in instruction number 8.
The jury deliberated and found James guilty of first-degree murder and armed criminal action. As Molly's family watched James's sentencing, the room was heavy with grief. James remained emotionless as he was handed a life sentence without parole plus 10 years. The courtroom erupted in relief for justice. but the void left by Molly's senseless death lingered deeply. As the trial concluded and justice was served, Molly Watson's story left an indelible mark on all who knew her and followed her case. Beyond the tragedy of her death, Molly's life served as a poignant reminder of resilience, love, and individuality. Her cousin, Jody Lindbergh, reflected on Molly's ability to light up any room she entered. "She had a smile that was contagious," Jody said. "Even on her toughest days, Molly showed us the importance of chasing dreams and finding joy in the little things." Friends described Molly as fiercely loyal and hopeful, even when faced with challenges in her relationships. Her brother Tim recounted how Molly was always a beacon of support for her loved ones, never hesitating to lend a hand or an ear to those in need. Despite the dark circumstances surrounding her death, Molly's legacy endures as a testament to the beauty of hope, creativity, and compassion. Her family and friends worked to keep her memory alive, finding ways to honor the light she brought to the world. The senselessness of her death underscored the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of betrayal. Molly's story, though tragic, continues to inspire conversations about trust, resilience, and the importance of cherishing our loved ones. If you found this story interesting and you sympathize with Molly Watson's family, please hit the like button and leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more daily chilling true crime stories on love, betrayal, and revenge. See you on the next one.